everybody, this is Zami'Ra Ra continuing on our video series. Today we are on Chapter 6, Relativity in the Dream World of Naazir Ra's books, Access Coast of Zion, How to Live on the Frequency. And today we are changing up the scenery a little bit. We are in Malaya. This is where most of the magic happens. This is where most of the creativity happens. Just here in the vicinity of my own space, and I feel at peace here in my element. So I was like, why not film it here today? This right here next to me is a little project that I'm working on. I'm going to start teaching classes to my family, like my siblings, and even my mom is going to be one of my students. So just like I have journals and journals of journals of journals of journals of just studies, of poems, of different stuff I learned, and I just want to put it all together and start disseminating some of it, because at the end of the day, if I acquire this knowledge but I don't share it with anyone, it'll all be pointless. Okay? So, with that being said, we're going to jump right into Chapter 6, Relativity in the Dream World, and I have a quote. Only those who went to sleep can wake up, only those who descended can ascend, and only those who created the matrix can decode it. And throughout the time that we're talking about this chapter, we'll go into much greater detail about what that quote really means, okay? Absolute consciousness that we refer to as God is the original dreamer, the source of everything, okay? On a certain level, there are only two types of beings. There's the dreamer, and then there's a dreamt. So let's say that you are having a dream, and in your dream, you see one of your homeboys from middle school, and you say, hey, what's up, man? Like, we're dreaming, like, let's go climb Mount Everest right now. And then your buddy's just like, yeah, man, okay, whatever. So you teleport, you and your homeboy, you guys are climbing Mount Everest. You got no gear on, and you're climbing Mount Everest, and you're just doing it. You got super strength. You're not being affected by the cold, anything. All these magical things are happening in this dream. When you're able to control it, and you're lucid dreaming to this point. And you say to your homeboy, hey man, isn't this cool, man? We climbed Mount Everest, you don't got no gear or nothing. And you're so excited about it, and your homeboy, your ex-homeboy in the dream, he has no recollection. He doesn't even see the significance of what it is you just did, because in the dream, he would be considered the dreamt, okay? You would be the dreamer, he would be the dreamt. And the point of this all is that, the dreamer can never wake up the dreamt in the dream, no matter how much they try. Only the dreamt can wake himself up in his own dream. And then it will be another cycle, because when he wakes up, he will become the dreamer. The other people in his dream will become the dreamt. And that's just how that goes. So next, we have, the same thing applies when you're trying to bring people out of the illusion in your waking life. There will be people that you will try to shine that light on and drop some knowledge on them, and no matter what, they won't be able to accept it. They won't be able to take it as their truth. And in this section and a lot of my previous videos, I've mentioned cognitive dissonance, and I keep on saying it because hopefully you guys will keep on hearing this term and want to look it up for yourself, so you'll have that insight and be able to see it when it's being presented to you all over in your everyday life. But no matter how much you try to wake this person up, so to speak, bring them out of the illusion, they don't want to, because that is their choice. Whatever it is, it's been implanted so deep to the point they don't want to hear what you gotta say. No matter what you say, they don't want to hear it. So at one point, like I mentioned before, never underestimate the power of planting that seed, but at the same time, don't just keep casting your jewels before swine, a great master teacher once said. So, like I said, again, never underestimate that, but at the same point, don't try to keep pushing it on someone, okay? Next, we're going to be continuing on the next little subsection, what is reality? Okay, it is impossible to even conceive of something that does not exist, because the second you think of it, it exists. So I'm going to repeat that. It is impossible to even conceive of something that does not exist, because the second you think of it, it exists. Now, I've told you before, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have came across a person who's so bent on trying to convince everybody that Jesus does not exist. They'll even try to act like they're so knowledgeable and try, the three stars in Orion's belt, and Sirius, and the Southern Crux, the constellation, and all this. They try to sound like they know so much, but at the same time, on a certain level, you understand that everything is energy. And if anything, the fact that you're spending so much time in your thoughts, this is consuming your thoughts so much, you're giving more energy and you're making Jesus more real than anyone who doesn't even care to dive into it. So at some point, you got to say, what am I really giving my energy to, in the first place? And you have to know and understand there's nothing new underneath the sun. The experience of something new is a function of remembering and forgetting dreams. So therefore, true consciousness is lucidly remembering that we are all master creators of our reality and of all of our experiences. So now especially out of nowadays, you'll hear people saying, there's a transition happening, people are waking up, there's a revolution, and some people are even going to the extent of saying, the world is ending, get out of where you are. I've seen this guy on YouTube, he's like, get out of Babylon because Donald Trump is president, and this is happening, and people are doing this, and you need to come join me. You just need to move to one of these islands, away from all that, because the chemtrails this and all of that. And so, he's focusing all of his energy on that. Meanwhile, you're calling yourself a God, but then if you're a God, then you would know, one, that your thoughts create your reality. Whatever you focus your thoughts on and you allow to take place and you give energy to, that's what's going to manifest in your exterior. So no matter if you're on this island and you think you're away from all this, in your mind, it's still being consumed by the chaos of that world. So that chaos can manifest where you are externally through tornadoes, through tsunamis. So, and that was a little bit off track, but it's like, it's like people are so stuck on the physical. This, my candles, my this, my all that. Not saying that it's not important, but if you focus so much on this, and this is chaotic, no matter where you are standing physically on this planet, that will manifest itself externally. So anyways, like I was saying, true consciousness is remembering that we are all master architects of our experiences. That comes from the mind. What are you focusing your thoughts on? What are you giving energy to? Are you obeying the law of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without? If you are, you would know that inside I am at peace. I understand that I may see some chemtrails and people are sometimes rude to me on the external, but it's like, inside, I love myself so much. I got that inner joy. I got that inner peace. It radiates wherever I am. I'm optimistic. I'll make a bright situation out of whatever. And it's always understanding that whatever we give energy to is what's going to manifest itself. So why focus on that chaos? Anyhow, moving forward, people who are not able to forgive suffer because of it. And once again, mentioning, you got some people who are going to be rude to you. You got some people who are not going to understand you. They may even start, talking shit about you, but what are you can't control sometimes, most of the time. You can't control that a person wants to say something. You can't control that stink look that person wants to give you. So why dwell on that? What you can control is how you react to it. So if you understand that the way that people treat you is just a reflection of their own inside, you would understand that person is sad, that person is miserable inside. So, they want to reflect that and they want you to react on that. That way you can add the fuel to the flame, and now you just got a whole chaotic mix of negative energy. So what are you giving your energy to, one? And if you're dwelling on what an external person has did to you, you're still focused on it, you're letting that replay, now you're sad inside. You're suffering because you're trying to figure out, oh my God, but why would he do that to me? I didn't understand. This is not saying that, justifying whatever it is that person did, but this is understanding that what you can control is how you respond to it. Don't give any energy to it, and the trolls will just fall out, you know what I'm saying? Next, they're understanding the importance that there is only one self. Every person that you encounter on your external is an aspect of you, is a characteristic of you. Okay, so once you feel like you want to lash out at someone, once you feel like you want to punch somebody in the face, you should think twice and say, there is only one self. Maybe this person is, that outward manifestation of, my laziness. I'm getting mad at this person because they're lazy, because they don't know how to tidy up after themselves. But really, that makes you should be looking inside like, my room isn't clean right now. I didn't wipe up that mess that I made. So you judging them is ultimately condemning your own soul. And the fact that they're even doing things to you in the first place, that's condemning their own soul. So if you give energy to it, you're once again adding fuel to the flame, and If you do that, then whatever happens after that, understand that that was all you. You know, we in here, what we're trying to do is you're trying to make people understand that this is all because of you. You have to take ownership for what it is you do, what you think, what you say, how you react. This has nothing to do with some kind of exterior force. You have to step up to your power. You have to take responsibility for you, and don't expect someone else to do it for you. Okay? Moving forward, as I mentioned, when that being violates you, ultimately they're violating their own souls. Do not give into it. All right, this is why forgiveness is a very high expression of consciousness, because it illustrates a high level of love, understanding, and connection with the soul. And plus, in the first place, it takes more awareness and it takes more consciousness for you to say, you know what? I'm not going to give into that situation. I'm not going to feed that flame right there because I already know where it leads to. I'm going to be mad. I'm not going to be able to think, concentrate on anything else for the rest of my day. So you know what? I'm going to let that person have whatever it is they just did, and I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, loving myself and loving my people. Okay? That is the true access to Zion. Alrighty? So bitterness, anger, rage, and hate are extremely toxic to the body, in the mind, and can eventually lead to mental or physical illness. And, it gets to a point where you never heard the stereotypical, that bitter old woman. She's just so bitter, she's just so mean inside, and eventually if she keeps feeding into that, that can manifest in her physical as cancer, as some kind of disease, as somebody close to her being hurt. This is the power of energy and where you're giving it to it. And the same thing goes whether you're dealing with that positive, righteous energy, or if you're dealing with that low, degenerative energy. Whichever one you give most of your energy to, that's what's going to manifest. So knowing that, what are you giving your energy to on a daily basis? Okay? It is your right to feel pain when an unjust event occurs, but you're supposed to go through it, then go through that healing process, and forgiveness is a huge part of that. And forgiving it is a huge part of becoming your greater self, because you just got the upper hand, like, man, I didn't even give energy to that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even let that give to you. I'll give you a real quick example. Maybe like a week and a half ago, I broke my phone. It was crazy how it happened though, because I had just listened to, I was about to go to bed and I just listened to the Sleeping Serpent evening meditation. And in the beginning of it, Naazir says, make sure all electronics are off and, away from you, that kind of deal. My phone was, on my bed, and I'm like, my phone is just, it ain't that powerful. Like, I'm just gonna leave it over there. It didn't even buy me in the first place. So that struck one because I was disobeying. And then, so I'm doing it, and just the first time through, I got so deep in it where I wasn't even focused on the words as he was saying. I'm like, oh my God, it's over already. I don't even know what he just said. So I started over, and I did it again. And this time, I went to a point where I had drifted off, and I went to sleep. So I wake up the next morning. I have to get ready for work, and I usually check what time it is. I'm like, okay, man, my phone would not turn on. It, the home screen was blinking, but it never turned back on. And I put it on the charger. I took it to the repair shop, and I'm like, why is this not? And then it dawned on me. I'm like, wow, he did say, things get a little bit electrifying, so to speak, and I didn't obey. So I'm like, Now, the reaction to that, I have to deal with whatever it is I have to deal with not having a phone for this time. So not doing that is actually where all of this came from. I had time, more time to focus on making these, more time to focus on studying and getting some things done. So, long story short, would I even be sitting here wanting to share with you guys this environment if I had never broke my phone, in the first place? Now, I could have been like the average person would have been and cried and had a hissy fit and being mad at the world and feeling like my whole life was over because my phone broke. Or I could have took that energy, transmuted it to focus on a thing that I need that's going to help me, my people, like my mission statement says. I'm here to manifest my highest potential by allowing my ancestors and the Most High to speak through me for the service of my people in the world. Would I even be speaking this to you right now had I not broke my phone in the first place? You know what I'm saying? So we're going to stop right there until we continue on the next section. We're going to talk about energies a little bit more. But, until next time, everybody, time is up. Timer is